one thing about my father, man, is again the trickle down from being raised with 10 children in the home. My grandmother never worked. My father's dynamic, there was a pecking order issue. So it boiled down to everybody seeking the mother's attention. And like your post earlier, we living in a matriarchal system. You ain't never heard nobody say yo daddy on the playground and it was fighting words.
Yeah.
Everybody knows in the black community, universally, if you talk about somebody's mama, you're gonna get suspended from school. But they'll teach us every day that we living in a patriarchal society. Yeah, that might be true on the macrocosm, but when it came to the black community, Big Mama always ran everything, and Grandpa did whatever Grandma wanted. Dudes went home and brought the paycheck home back in them days. You understand? It was a whole different dynamic back then. You understand? So the matriarchy emasculated the patriarchy. So what my father would do when I would go to Dallas, and next time I'm down there, I'm coming to see you,
Yeah.
when I'm
Pull
in
up.
Texas. So dad tried to give us the masculine perspective. Dad never, he gave us the opportunity to speak what we wanted to say. He didn't react emotionally to it. He attempted to check us and discipline us when we were thinking wayward. One of the things my dad would say is, if you go out in this world with bitch ways, you bound to get fucked. Is something my dad would always say. And something else he would tell us, and you're young trying to get this information over a 3 month span of time over the summer. He would say, son, your dick is the golden rod. Now, as I got older, I was able to piece together what he was basically saying. Like, understand, like, the power of your penis. And if you operate from a woman's perspective and you go out in this world with woman's ways, you're going to get fucked over. And those were the biggest things that I took away from my father's tutelage. Now, understand, my father had his issues. You understand, it was a lot of things underlining going on with him that as a young boy discredited my father's wisdom. Just like, mothers that they'll say, I'll never say nothing bad about your dad and this and that. And a lot of women wave that flag. But as a young boy, I would encourage mothers to ask their children, that especially their sons, ask your sons how they really feel about you and watch how they struggle with telling you the truth about you, because the grace of men does not allow them to air you out. They're going to cover your infidelities. They'll fight with anybody that's going to talk about their mom, even when their mother is wrong. And when you going out in this world thinking like that, subconsciously, you might love your mama like that, and your mama might love you like that. But you'll meet a woman in your life that's not going to love you like your mom, but you'll be ready to crash out over her and end up in the penitentiary over somebody that never loved you. So these was the lessons that my father was trying to convey to us. And basically, knowledge of self, do for self. Self-preservation is the first law of nature. Don't get caught up out here trying to put your cape on and save every situation, because a lot of men, their sensitivity to single moms, they say, oh, well, single moms are easy targets. Well, I want to dispel that myth. It's not that men look at women with children as easy targets or none of that. When a man meets a woman, if I meet her out and about, I met her first. I didn't see her children. Now, when you are a young boy that grew up with a struggling single mom, automatically, right? Like we got our homeboy Eugene that's going through right now. You will have an ill attachment to the children, and you will have a soft spot for them, and you will never want them to struggle like you had to struggle. So you don't want to see the mother struggle with the child, and you don't want to see the child struggling. So now they make it simp behavior when really it's a trauma response. So a lot of dudes develop these relationships with these children because they don't want to see the children suffer, but they call that simping. They call that stepdaddyism, and you always going to lose with that, because those kids never form a real bond with you. You form a real bond with the kids, and their loyalty is always going to be with their father, even if he was in jail, even if he ain't never showed up, even if he stood you up when he said he was coming to get you and never came, and then the stepdaddy had to drop you off and fill in the gaps and all of that. All the dad has to do at any given day is get his shit together, right? And most kids are going to have a loyalty to their dad, unless the dynamic is the opposite, where you end up with the Shaquille O'Neal type of dude, where Shaq was like, fuck his dad. You see what I'm saying? Well, most kids, and most often this is with the girls are the ones that's reaching out for the relationship with the dad because they're female. You understand? But the boys is always going to be loyal to the mother. You see what I'm saying? So, and they'll tell you to reject your father's wisdom. But I tell all my religious folks, anytime you saying a mantra or a prayer where it says, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, that's telling me, well, subconsciously you telling the world, like, yeah, that father that's in front of you that's going to work, paying the bills and making sure you cool, you ain't got to listen to him or respect him. Our Father is in heaven. So that's the only father that you got to reverence and pay attention to. And most women indoctrinate their kids into the church. So they're automatically subconsciously taught, fuck your dad on earth. We pray to the Father, and our Father in heaven provides all of our needs.
I can see that, especially if the mindset of the woman is coming from a negative mindset and is not being helpful and doesn't care about nurturing the right way, and is coming through a negative situation. If the mother is already operating emotionally undisciplined and has resentment for the father, she can definitely manipulate whatever information she wants to, you know. Now, the beauty of the conversation in talking about the grace of men, and then you mentioned in the Lord's Prayer about our Father in heaven, is that ultimately you return to the source for the answer, and it's in the image of a man. It's not in the image of a woman. Like the like when you are in a worst case scenario, you could cry subconsciously for your mother. Like you scrape your knee, you know, or you need your mother's nurturing, care, concern, or whatever. You know, there's some situations that a child absolutely just wants their mother, you know, for comfort sakes. But when you want to solve a problem, you don't pray to your mom. You sit back, and even if you don't have a dad present in your life or a male figure present in your life, you still say, our Father in heaven, or whatever it is, you know, whatever condition that you had, you know, that the solution goes through a man's it comes through a filter that a man understands. And no matter how you do it, you know, like it's like the greatest philosophers are men, the greatest engineers and mathematicians are men. The infrastructure is built by men. Everything that we objectively see in the world every day that we use, that we don't even think about. You like the fact that we're even on the internet right now having this conversation, you know what I'm saying? I'm in Texas and you're in Ohio, you know, like, and it went from a Facebook post to this. This is another, you know, example of the grace of men, because like you reach a certain point in your life where you've done a lot of different things. You made money, you lost money, you got it back. You had your freedom compromised. You had your feelings played with. You had your emotions tried. You probably should have killed some people. You know what I'm saying? That you gave grace then too. And you still pull up on them. You know where they live. You know where they see. You see them all the time. Even if they don't see you, and you know you still got that in you. And by grace, you don't. So ultimately, the alignment that you have to have as a man, it has to be with the logic that a reasonable man that you would respect would tell you, because you want somebody to talk you down off the ledge, because you know when you're ready to go that distance, it's already done because it's up here already. The last thing you need to do is get in the car and travel to wherever the situation needs to take place at. You already got a plan that goes after that too. If you, especially if you sober, let you be sober and then still thinking the same thing. And when you don't need anything to trigger you, because it's on you, it's in you, you know, because it's already psychologically imprinted up there. So if you don't have that balance, with that one moment of emotional discipline, just to even just say, show me a sign, you're not gonna get that sign from your mom. Because you're looking for confirmation, and you looking for a reason to not do it because you've already made up that you're going to do it. So, like, though that psychological imprint from your father, depending on how he lived his life, is going to be the final confirmation. And even if he wasn't able to show up in every area that you wanted him to show up in, if you still had connection with him to be able to respect what he's done for himself, like you said, it's going to always bring them people back to you because everybody ain't perfect. They're going to figure out how hard the world actually is and that your dad was Superman. And when you figure that part out, that's when you say, man, I can relate to you not crashing out. I admire you for not crashing out. It don't matter how much money you made or didn't make. You maintained your character and your integrity because that's what's really lacking in the world. You know how many dummies you got to walk past before you actually talk to somebody with some sense that you could actually respect? That's a very short list. You travel a lot in the world, and you walk past so many stupid people, so many, and give them grace every day because you could fry so many people with what they think, and you say, nah, it's not worth my time. They need to heal. you figure out something that says, you know what, they're fighting something that I'm not responsible for starting. So the grace of men is like that, every day. Because like if we were able to, like you mentioned, if we were able to talk about the women in our lives the way based on their behavior, not what they represent, but based on their behavior, many of them would be jumping off of bridges. Because most of them are bad parents. Most of them, if their kids went to therapy, they lose custody. And most of them are not even good people to the other women in their lives. But even still, men get in the room to work their issues out, become adults on their own, because they can't be told what to do. Then they just got to function. They got to figure it out on their own. And in most cases, the only time that they're going to learn is when their children teach it to them. So it may take them 40, 50 years, maybe 60, before they start getting the real report card on their behavior. Because if they're not listening to men who get them grace by simply not trying to superimpose themselves in their lives based on their behavior and let them do whatever they want to do, then the only people that can like really bring their behavior back to tally is going to be their children.
Man, that's heavyweight jewelry, dog. And it's for several reasons. Like I've seen this happen in my life where they got their report card. My father got his report card at the end. You understand? Where I had to take care of him, but this is the space where I was able to say, like, hey, man, this is how the things you did. This is the end result of that. And he saw it with his own life. So it was really nothing that I had to say. When you die and you didn't have the connection with your sons that you were supposed to, it's going to show. When you get older and you didn't establish a proper connection with your children, no matter how they performing for you as a mother, because they want your affirmation, they want your love, and they want your affection. Everybody wants mama's love. So a lot of that is based off performance. So the children are performing. Okay, mom, look, ta-da, you gonna love me now? Then they do something else. Ta-da, you come home with your report card. See, mom, see, mom, see, mom. So it's all based off of performance. And when you're dealing with performative love, you don't see what's real. So this is the smoke screen and the illusion that makes a lot of single black mothers think that they're doing a great job. But in reality, their father can't tell you the truth, because when he tries to give you wisdom, you say he ain't right. A lot of their family members, aunts, they got sisters, brothers, can't nobody tell them nothing. They think they right, or they'll coddle them and justify the behavior. But when the child starts crashing out, the first thing everybody yells is because his dad wasn't in his life, or his dad, or lack of the dad, right? So once you got this dynamic in place, like even in this conversation that we having right now, we are not interrupting each other in the conversation at all. I'm able to complete my whole everything I want to say. You was able to complete everything you wanted to say. We are not butting in on each other. We're not interrupting each other. We're not piggybacking on each other. You're able to complete your entire thought. I'm not taking a little segment of what you're saying and getting an emotional reaction and spinning the conversation in a whole nother direction where we on a whole nother topic. So we're able to psychologically stay on task. You're able to completely express everything that's on your mind, because men paint pictures with words. Women just talk shit. Okay. And the most often, once we're able to paint the full picture and they get it through the brushstrokes, right? Now you see the whole picture. But if you're basing your opinion off of a couple things that I said that stung you and it pricked your accountability, you're going to get stuck right there at that point of contention. And most often that's going to be the point of contention for the rest of the relationship. And you never get to the solution, which we were created as masculine men to be able to provide. So the provision and the protection that they want from us, they self-sabotage themselves to where we ain't even in position to be able to give it to them. The first place for us to be able to give it to you is going to be in the home, being there, protecting and providing. And the other place we going to give you is the other part of the emotional balance, when I lay you down in the bedroom and bend you over and pull your hair. All of these things balance out the emotional psyche of a woman. And if you don't have these things in balance and you going without, the women are sexually frustrated, angry at the kids, snapping because they ain't got no dude. Now they got roses and they playing with themselves. So now their emotional comfort and their companionship is now defaulted to their kids. So then they have this emotional attachment to their kids, where when their kids ain't around, they don't even know what to do with.
All right, folks. Appreciate you sticking with me to the end. This has been another episode of Beyond the Algorithm. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Go get the book. And most importantly, I will see you beyond the algorithm, because that's where life actually happens.